Canelo, it looks like he's picking the Dazn option over the PBC. He'll take on Dimitri Bivol. The fight will take place on May the 7th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Bivol will be defending his WBA light heavyweight title against the now 4-division world titleist Canelo. Canelo now has a record of 57, 1 loss and 2 draws, 39 KOs. Bivol has a perfect record of 19-0, 11 stoppages. Mike Tyson said he wants Canelo to fight Benavidez. He's entitled to his opinion, but I'm just not sold on Benavidez like that. Bivol is 31 years of age now, similar age to Canelo, and he's fought the likes of Joe Smith Jr., Gene Pascal, which in itself is better than what Benavidez has done. Benavidez is just waiting around for a big fight, and he doesn't deserve the fight. He doesn't deserve it over Bivol. Just being honest. I like the Bivol fight, but Eddie, charge my brothers and sisters across the pond pay-per-view. Don't charge me for it. If it's part of my subscription, cool, but I'm not paying out of my pocket. I'm not paying out from my pocket for that or Golovkin. Why would he fight David Benavidez? He doesn't have a belt at 168. What's the difference between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant? What's the difference between David Benavidez and Callum Smith at 168, or Billy Joe Saunders, or even Rocky Fielding for that matter? I'm just being honest. He's done nothing. Anyone trying to talk him up like he's a credible threat, it's become more of just a mantra that people are repeating. There's no methodology behind it at all. What, he comes forward and throws a lot of punches? So what? I'm beginning to believe, not Mike Tyson. I don't think Mike Tyson is a fanboy of networks like some of these crazy people who claim to be boxing fans. But a lot of them are saying it because they want the fights to be on PBC. It's a network. We support this network thing. Oh, it has to be on this network. And that's just ridiculous. That's the weirdo side of boxing right now. Benavidez blew it, waiting around for a fight, losing both his belts to the scales, you can say. You know what I mean? The weighing scale and the weed scale. But look, he's blew it. Canelo is already undisputed in that weight class. He's blew it. He's blew it. Caleb Plant got the fight ahead of you because the PBC strategically waited for Caleb to be the last piece of the chessboard, knowing that Canelo would need him, and Canelo would have to sing to the PBC's tune. That was the only hold they have over him. They no longer have hold over him, and they can't control him. He's gone over to Dazn. He has a better relationship with Eddie, and that's boxing, I'm afraid. That's boxing. Good thing Caleb Plant has better dietary habits than Benavidez and doesn't have a weed habit like Benavidez. I believe Bivol is the tougher fight. Whether it will be the more exciting fight is a different question. I believe Benavidez would have went in there, threw hands, got countered and punched up. People believe that. Others believe that Benavidez is some superhuman 168-pounder. Well, he needs to go test that out. He claims he needs $7 million to fight Andrade. Have them fought Charlo, who's sitting on his ass as well. Too many people sitting on their ass, you know. The only one who's going to sit on their ass and get away with it is Golovkin, because he's on Dazn, and Dazn are probably fed up at overpaying him for fights, and they've promised him the Canelo fight. So he's definitely on the contract if Canelo's going to get that money. And we know Canelo has ducked Andrade from 154 all the way up to 160. Yeah? Because he's boring and doesn't sell. Code words. I'm not going to fight him because he's too tricky. If I was Eddie, I wouldn't be too happy, because if you're planning to put Dimitri Bivol pay-per-view, and they're talking about $80 for this Canelo Bivol fight in America. Good luck! So why did Canelo go back over to Dazn over the PBC? Well, Canelo got everything he wanted from the PBC. He's got Caleb's IBF strap, he's undisputed. The Charlo Benavidez matches, they're not going to do anything for his career, really, to be honest. Like, he's done what he's had to do at 168. He doesn't really have to prove himself, to be honest. Look, if David wanted to fight, stop smoking weed, don't miss the scales, fight some better competition. Charlo, fight some better competition. It is what it is. Maybe now you can't get the Canelo fight. They'll actually be more proactive and take charge of their careers and actually give us some decent fights instead of just waiting around for Canelo for the pension fund fight. I'm not sure if Al Heyman surrounding himself in this kind of mystery and not talking actually helps either. Eddie, you know, he's got a relationship with Canelo, and Canelo's a free agent. He's not signed with Dazn. But he went back with Eddie because better the devil you know, perhaps. He's back with Eddie. And look, even though he's not with Golden Boy no more, he goes back over the zone. They've got Ryan Garcia, they've got Virgil Ortiz, they've got Jaime, they've got a lot of Mexican guys over the zone, while the PBC has kind of not shook off that, oh, we're a black organization sort of thing. So potentially, there could be more of a fan base over at the zone than the PBC. I'm not sure if that's correct. But apart from Leo Santa Cruz and the guy who fought Tank the other day, who do the PBC have in terms of Mexicans? They got David Benavidez, obviously. But as for Eddie taking losses in the bigger picture, when he's got Canelo back for 2 fights, tell me where the loss is. I wonder if Frank Warren would sacrifice his winning bid for Zach Parker versus Andrade to get Canelo on BT for 2 fights. What do you reckon? And the truth is, that fight has no value in America. Eddie was bidding for the fight with the object of pitching it in America. Andrade's not a name out here. Zach Parker's not a name in the UK. So he pitched what he thought the fight was worth in America. Now, let's see if Frank can sell out an arena, and I'm assuming that would have to be in Scotland. And if they try and make that pay-per-view in the UK, it flops big time. And in America. Eddie has obviously been holding back to make this Canelo deal. And that's why he looks so happy right now. Andrade's got options. He's still got the 160-pound belt. I wonder if people realise that. Gianni Beck and Munguia is being pitched as an interim fight. Andrade's still the champion. You know, just because Frank won the bid, it doesn't mean that the Zach Parker-Andrade fight necessarily goes ahead. So Andrade's got a few options here, but, you know, he's got to make up his mind soon. And that's a lot of purse that Frank Warren has to pay out. He's already paid out how much for the Fury-Dillian fight? So that fight might not go ahead. It might not go ahead yet. There ain't no rush. Frank ain't no rush to put that out. Trust me. Because logistically, it might not add up in his favor. Okay, let's change tact. Here's what I was saying on the 24th of February. You can't make yourself have the fear factor either. You can't. You can't make yourself have it. If you don't fear fighter B and you're fighter A, you can't make yourself have the fear factor.
As a fighter, you're missing the point. It creeps in. It's a subconscious thing. Of course, you're professional. Of course, you've trained hard and you've approached it and everything. But you can't make yourself have fear. And if you just think you're better than somebody and they're not really good enough to beat you, you can't fake it. You know, I don't think you can anyway. I never could.
Matthew Macklin eerily mirroring what I was saying about Josh Taylor, Jack Catterrall, almost word for word.
I'm calling to all the international partners to observe this strategy that is happening nowadays in Ukraine and this senseless war, which is not going to have any winners but losers. I just want to tell you we must stay united against this aggression, against Russian aggression. Don't let it happen, continue happening in Ukraine. Don't let it happening in Europe and eventually in the world. United, we're strong. Support Ukraine. Thank you.
I remember people calling Vitaly a bitch when Derek spat in his face and he didn't retaliate. But it's obvious, even though he didn't know he was going to be the mayor of Kiev when that happened, or he was going to be an integral part of the conflict at that time, he was a man who was always looking at the bigger picture. You know, I remember when they were throwing tear gas canisters and he stood his ground, and it was a volatile situation. You got to big these two up. You got to big up these two. They've got millions in the bank and they could be detaching themselves from the situation and be in relative safety, but they're in the thick of it. Victor Postol is fighting in America on Saturday. Like, he's done the bulk of his training in the Ukraine and he flew over to America to fight Gary Antoine Russell, younger brother of Gary Russell. Some people are saying, he shouldn't be fighting now, but it's a job. This is his job. Are you going to put the food on the table for his wife and his 2 sons? So he's trying to block out all the media-related news. He said he believes his wife and his kids are safe right now. I heard they was in a bunker. I don't know what's accurate or what's not. But these are not ideal situations for the man. Passing judgment is the last thing you want to do. And your family's safe. Scott Fitzgerald just went off the rails, man. He beat Anthony Fowler in a good fight, good 10-rounder. Then he won the British 154-pound title against Ted Cheeseman. And then he just went off the rails. That was late 2019 when he fought Ted. And he's had one fight since then against a trial horse opponent from France. And then, you know, like, we saw him sleeping outside the pub on the floor after he said he had a straightener with some gypsy in a park or something. A Southpaw gypsy, he said, or something. Or traveller, I should say. Apologies. And now it says former British and international boxing champion Scott Fitzgerald kicked and knocked down his girlfriend after a 3-day drink and drug session. Fitzgerald, who won a gold at the 2014 Commonwealth Games, has spent days indulging in booze and cannabis before launching the assault on an Ingall Street on the evening of Tuesday, February the 8th. Now, Scott is claiming he has little memory of the incident, which a lot of onlookers saw. There are parts of the attack that are recorded on CCTV, but basically his girlfriend was reluctant to testify against him, and he claims he can't remember a lot of what happened because he pled out. They're giving him an 18th month suspended sentence. He'll do some community service. He'll have to address his drug issues in rehab, and he wants to apply back for his boxing license after he gets a shoulder injury repaired. I'm not sure if the British Boxing Board of Control is just going to hand over a license to him like that, though. I'm not sure. He'll have to do a lot to prove that he's stable to get that license. Let's hope he can clean up his act before he gets in some real serious business. Real serious business. Either him hurting someone really bad or him getting himself hurt really bad. It's bigger than boxing. Boxing. Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk in major doubt as Usyk flies back to the Ukraine to join war effort. What does that mean? Is he looking to get conscripted? Pick up arms? Because you know what they're doing out there? Anyone between 18 and 60. I think that might be in Kiev. Anyone between 18 and 60. And you can go willingly, or they can take you by force. But you've got to join that army. It's a serious situation out there. So what does that do to the unified heavyweight title fight between the champion, Alexander Usyk, and challenger, Anthony Joshua? Now, Eddie Hearn the other day was saying he was looking at a May or June date, but has, I don't want to call it war. I'm hoping that it will just end quickly, to be honest with you. It's very unsavory. The conflict or the assault, how long is it going to go on for? And if Usyk is going to be fighting for his country, the Anthony Joshua fight will obviously take second place in his priorities. Perhaps he could fight JOYCE for the WBO belt. I don't know if the sanctioning bodies are going to hold Usyk's belts in recess if he's not able to fight. Some may even say this was a blessing for AJ if Usyk isn't able to get in the ring and defend his titles against him. See, war is very strategic, though. And politics being politics, if we go back to the Second World War, Joe Louis, who was invited to the White House by Franklin Roosevelt, Joe, we need muscles like yours to beat Germany. And he was talking about his fight with Max Schmeling from Germany. And obviously, you know, it was the Germans against the Allied forces. And both Joe and Max Schmeling were used as tools as propaganda. Let's face it, that's what they were used for. There's a good chance that whoever is leading the Ukraine may tell Usyk, you've got to defend your titles. He would be a good propaganda tool for them, especially if he was to beat AJ again. In terms of the Ukraine getting people to listen to their cause. It sounds a little cynical what I'm saying, but it is what it is. I don't think they're going to send Vitaly or Vladimir out there with guns. They're too influential. I don't think they're going to do that, even though they want to go out there. Same with Usyk. They're not going to send Usyk out there with a rifle. Jack Catterrall, he went for Josh Taylor's neck, but there was no conviction in the attempt to grab his neck. None at all. And Josh pushed back and they were pulled apart. They both made the weight. Nothing much to report here. I think the biggest interest in this one is it's Josh Taylor's first defense as undisputed champion. Must be costing him a pretty penny paying all them sanctioning fees. Any alarm bells necessary here? Like, here's a picture of Josh with the Cuban kid, Robersy. Josh look a bit pale, a little skinny. Maybe when he rehydrates, now that Wayne's done, he'll look a bit fuller. It looks like he's having a little bit of a battle to make 140. I don't advocate for boxers to retire, you know, that's the stance here. But I just don't want Rigo to put in any more performances like he did against Casemiro at the tail end of his career, man. It's not how I want to remember Rigo. So he's got a fight in Dubai for the WBC regional battle. They both made weight. He fights someone named Ostralabio, if that's how you pronounce it. He's a Filipino slugger. 16 wins, 3 losses, 12 knockouts. Rigo, 20 wins, 2 losses, 13 inside the distance. He's 41 years of age. His opponent is 24. He went a little below the radar, but what would you expect? You know what I mean? Like, Rigo just picking up checks right now.
Joe Joyce is the juggernaut. He's a very, very special, unique individual. And I've seen him sparring in Vegas, getting left hook after left hook after left hook. Someone landed 4 left hooks on Joe Joyce's chin, and he didn't even move. He actually done a test, like a bone density test, and his bone density is 6 times that of a normal human being.
That's Johnny Fisher talking about Joe Joyce's bone density. All is very impressive, but what about the defense? Who are these people who are landing 4 consecutive left hooks on your jaw? How's that happening? So we got Jerwin Ancajas, the Filipino IBF super flyweight champion. He's taking on Fernando Martinez, 13-0. I don't know, man. Like, Ancajas just isn't mixing it up with the Rungvisais, the Estradas, and the Gonzaleses, the Cuadras, and the top names from what I'm seeing there. If I'm incorrect, correct me. I believe he needs to step up a little, or at least call some people out. It's not a bad card. This is on the card with Victor Postol and Gary Antoine Russell. Chris Colbert, he takes on Hector Luis Garcia, a big southpaw, 14-0, 10 KOs. Chris Colbert, 16-0, 6 stoppages. Looks like an interesting bout, that. I'll be honest, I've never seen Garcia fight. If you've seen him fight, tell me if this is a step up for Chris Colbert, or could it be an upset? This is a pretty good PBC card. So here's the DAZN sales pitch. Last year, we showed over 50 premium events on DAZN as part of our subscription. That's 30 more fight nights in 2021 on average than others out there. And we are far cheaper. In 2022, it will be at least that, if not more. The problem is, though, man, like, I can't pin down when pay-per-view exactly started, to be honest. I mean, like, it's had a long run. Let's say, as a British boxing fan, 27 years. We're talking Sky. At least 27 years. It's longer than that in America, before you had the closed-circuit TV system. And when you make declarations like Eddie made...
not just for DAZN, but also for the boxing landscape. I believe today, with this announcement, you will see the end of pay-per-view boxing.
Joshua and Wilder, would that be joint?
Forget pay-per-view. Okay. It's done.
Yeah.
It's finished. Finished in America. This is the future.
And the thing is, if nobody took him serious, it wouldn't be a problem. There'd just be cracking jokes on him and saying, oh, I remember that idiot said that. But he had the industry shook. This is why he's having a lot of issues now, because he was threatening to take a lot of people's incomes away with proclamations like that. But, you know, what he said hasn't manifested. Pay-per-view is still here.
All the things I've been done, all the things I've been done, all the things I've been done, Mama just come, follow me.
And the issues Eddie has is a lot of what he said was right. That pay-per-view is outdated. We can see this. But DAZN is not the solution. Because when you look at Matchroom, you know, and if you want to call Canelo a Matchroom fighter, he's going to be back on it. AJ's fights are all on pay-per-view. Dillian White's fights are all on pay-per-view, at least in the UK. I paid for how much Derek Chisora fights on pay-per-view recently. And okay, they're not contracted Matchroom fighters, but that's who Eddie is dealing with. These are the fighters who fight on his platform with regularity. There's definitely going to be a price increase. Now Blavatnik's injected all them billions back into the company. And I guess a lot of us are going to be weighing up if it's worth it, renewing our subscriptions. You know, Caleb Plant was for all 4 belts. So that was on pay-per-view on that side of the street, the PBC side. But BIVOL is not for undisputed. BIVOL is not for undisputed. And BIVOL can't pull his weight in that pay-per-view one bit. He really can't pull his weight. So all that criticism that a lot of people have been getting, like whether it's, well, mainly the PBC pay-per-views actually, they've been getting a lot of post-fight criticism. Canelo's heading for that after this one here. $80 to watch Dimitri Bivol. Have you really thought this through? No. You just thrown the money at Canelo because he's the golden boy and everybody wants Canelo. Better hope them numbers come up. Better hope them numbers come up. There's Terence Crawford out there. There's Andrade. Really good black fighters. But Eddie seems very reluctant to invest in them. And I've just got to watch Canelo pitch up with... I don't rate Golovkin. I don't care who don't like it. I don't care who wants. I don't rate Golovkin. Don't rate him. The inactivity right now is an absolute piss take to say you're going to pitch him into a pay-per-view with Canelo and expect people to pay out their pocket to watch some old geezer who couldn't beat Canelo twice already. And I've got to listen to his fanboys talking about he definitely beat Canelo first time. No, he didn't.
Triple G ain't shit.